Hello YouTubers, welcome to another Doctor Who episode review. Today we're looking at Human Nature and the Family of Blood from Series 3 back in 2007. We looked at Silver Nemesis last time. Jonathan came along and joined us and
enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. And a few of you said you wouldn't mind seeing him come back to review a new series story because you've sort of said that you've only seen them once.
Yeah.
Mostly
once.
So, and I hadn't seen this story in years.
Had you watched it since its air date? Or?
Yeah, but obviously 2007, 7 wasn't it? 2007, well, that's a long time ago.
But you have watched it prior?
I have,
okay.
But not for a few years.
I only watched it when it was aired, so I haven't seen it since, until today.
It must be at least 3 years since I've seen this story. 3 years, probably more. But I'd be honest, I was really looking forward to watching it. So,
yeah.
What did you think?
It was very good.
Yeah?
Really enjoyed it. Very good story. Well written, well executed, well acted. Good story. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
it was.
There's not much to say really.
Yeah. Yeah, very good story, like you said, excellently written.
Yeah.
Very good acting from all involved. And we'll probably talk about that more as we go through. But yeah, no, an excellent story, and it's a shame because that's Paul Cornell's last story that he's written from Doctor Who.
So what other stories did he write?
He wrote Father's Day in Series 1, which was also another sort of emotional one.
Yes, yeah.
And a good story. I don't think he wrote anything in Series 2. He wrote that in Series 3. And I'm sure that's it. I'm sure he didn't...
It's a shame he's not being used more.
Yeah, it is a shame, because he's...
Clearly
he's very good. Yeah, he is excellent. And before we carry on with this, I have not read the novel. And neither has Jonathan. Neither of us have read the novel.
Well, we didn't write many notes for this one.
No.
I mean, we wrote quite a lot for Silver Nemesis because there was quite a lot of things to say. And this, we just sat and watched it and commented on a few things, but we didn't write that much. So that's a positive thing, I think.
Yeah, very good. Well, yeah, you always know that if it's a good story, you're not going to write down much.
No.
So this will probably be a very short video. We start off quite a really good opening, isn't it?
Exciting.
You know, straight into it. The adventure has already begun before the audience tunes in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we're sort of thrown into it, and then it cuts abruptly to John Smith in bed, and we now learn that John Smith is now that the Doctor is now John Smith, and that he's lost all his memory of being the Doctor, and etc. etc. So after the title sequence, we're treated to some shots of the school and the choir of children singing.
Singing To Be a Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And obviously the significance that one of the lines in the hymn is Follow the Master. And obviously 2 stories' time he comes back.
Yeah, so that was a clever little nod. I'm sure it was
intended. I'm sure it was, yeah.
Because it's on the clearest bit as well.
The singing you can clearly hear.
You've got David Tennant talking about
that's
stuff.
right.
But that bit is there and it's like, ooh, wink. So we're treated to, John Smith as how he is now, and we have all this stuff about him having all these dreams and things about his life as the Doctor, but of course he thinks they're only dreams. And one thing which is very nice, when he's got his Journal of Impossible Things and it looks back at the last couple of years of Doctor Who, one of the nice things is we have that page where he opens it up and it has a picture of all the different incarnations of the Doctor.
Yeah,
it's a shame that he
nice touch.
I don't think he doesn't explain it, does he? There's no. They never say, "Oh,
who are these people?"
Yeah, it would have been nice if he said, "Oh, sometimes
he changes."
I've got a different face."
Yeah,
or something like that. That would have been nice.
That's not mentioned, but I think it's just put in there for fans.
Yeah.
Of the classic series to see. Oh, look,
Yeah, and of course the key thing to do with that, which caused a massive thing on the internet at the time, because I remember, was Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, being centre of the frame. And
what, didn't people like that?
No, people thought it was brilliant. Because there was still, even then, although Russell T Davies had said
it was canon,
there was still, people had a lot of discrepancy with, is the TV movie actually canon?
Right.
And that basically quashed it. There were a few people saying, oh, but we can't really tell if it is Paul McGann.
No, you can. It's ridiculous.
You know, it's obvious.
obvious.
It's, you know, it's a
The
very
frock coat.
yeah, it's got a cravat. It's a very
Yeah,
famous publicity still. I mean, we're missing a lot of stuff out because lots of stuff has happened by this point. Because it's difficult to talk about because there's nothing bad to point out.
And the plot works very well. It's just it seamlessly flows.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't like Silver Nemesis
where there's too much chunky little bits and pieces. Yeah.
You know, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's because it's well written, and Paul Cornell is infinitely better than Ken Clark who wrote Silver Nemesis. When the little boy, I say little boy, he's probably like 15, 16 at the time. He's probably older than that, but he's just got a young face.
I think he's supposed to be younger than that because obviously the older boys
pick on him.
in the yeah. I think he's supposed to be like year 8 or something like that. Yeah, I'd have thought.
So however old he is, whatever his boy is, Tim his name is, isn't it? Timothy. Is it Tim? I think it's Tim, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I just said yeah.
He gets the doctor's fob watch. I also don't know why they call it a fob watch, because I call it a pocket watch.
That is strange, yeah. Oh well.
Anywho, so he's got the doctor's fob watch with all the Gallifreyan text on it, which is nice. And he opens it up and he gets flashes of all these different stories with David Tennant. And you start to hear different voices, you just sort of random whispery voices, like talking about Time Lords and stuff. And you hear David Tennant's voice talking about stuff as well. Now, one thing we did say about this was there was a big missed opportunity. And what was that missed opportunity?
They could have had some classic clips or sounds from clips just to show, you know, how the Doctor's previous lives, what they were like. Now, and some of the aliens and the you know, and the adventures he had. Didn't have to be all new stuff. No. Didn't even show Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, and that's shocking because that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he would have still been fresh in people's minds. So that is odd. Now I know, and I said this when we watched it, didn't I? I stopped it and said it wasn't until the following year, 2008, in that Christmas special, that awful story, The Next Doctor with the Cybermen.
Oh, yeah.
Which is dire.
Forget about that.
A lot of people are going to probably say, "Oh, review that then. Why is that so bad?" But it wasn't until then that we get the first glimpse of old Doctors.
Yeah.
Outside of that drawing, the actual proper clips of old Doctors in the new series, and I'm sure, like I said to you, it was Russell T Davies who was very reluctant to put anything from the
classic series.
Yeah, like old clips and things. I don't know if it was because he didn't want to confuse the audience or alienate the audience. I don't think it would have necessarily confused the audience because I'm sure, you know, people are going to see, even if they didn't know who William Hartnell was or Patrick Troughton was, they're going to see Tom Baker, the most famous of the Doctors, the most iconic, like you said, and they're going to see it and go, "Oh, okay, it's the Doctor." I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how stupid they think their audience is, but the thing that gets my goat.
27 odd years, or however many years.
Well, that's true. But no, the thing that gets
you can't get rid of all that.
No. The thing that annoys me about it is, and we're not even saying that it should have just been like video clips. We're saying it could have just been audio. Even if it was just Tom Baker saying stuff like, "Oh, would you like a jelly baby?" Yeah. Everyone's going to know what that is. Well, of a certain age or of a certain understanding of the programme. The reason why it annoys me is because they did it with the Master. In a couple of episodes' time, you get Roger Delgado saying...
The Demons.
The Demons, or the Demons, however you want to pronounce it. Saying, "Destroy him and you will give your power to me." And then you have Anthony Ainley going...
Yes.
So yeah, they did it with the Master, who no one was going to... I mean, there's less chance of people recognising the voice of Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado than they are Tom Baker.
Or John Pertwee.
Or Pertwee. So I do find that quite baffling, as why would they do that but not do the other? Yeah. I mean, even Eccleston. That's weird. Why not Eccleston?
It is strange.
But that's just a little thing. Yeah. We've got a nice monster in this story. Obviously, we've got the Family of Blood as like the main alien entity, but the sort of the actual monsters are the Scarecrows. Yeah. And
they look good.
They do look very good.
Scary.
I actually, watching it a few times, I said they actually are really creepy. And yeah, I mean, you don't often get that very much in Doctor Who these days. It's things that are really quite scary. But they were the way that they moved and the faces, they really were quite frightening.
I mean, there's always something sinister about Scarecrows, in a way people tend to say, you know, and unless you're watching Muscle Gummidge. But you know, although even then,
that kind of scary moments.
It did used to have, that woman. She was frightening. But anyway,
I'm sure some people there are thinking, "Was all what?" some of these younger viewers. If you haven't seen Wurzel Gummidge with John Pertwee, well, you haven't lived. So
very good.
Another little nod, intentional or not, I think a lot of people thought it was, but we can't be sure unless we asked him himself, Mr. Murray Gold, is the little girl who becomes possessed by one of the family. When she's wandering around with her balloon, we hear dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun.
The tune that you hear in Sylvester McCoy's story Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Which the tune is accompanied
every time
you see the girl who is taken,
leitmotif, isn't it?
Leitmotif, yeah, taken over by the Daleks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember, that was another thing, actually, because I remember picking up on it, watching it, and just thinking, oh, that's just me just making connections for the sake of making connections. Actually, a lot of people on the internet picked up on it and said, oh, nice nod to Remembrance of the Daleks. So it probably was. It probably was like, oh well, it worked well because it's quite creepy. Isn't it?
There's something creepy about it. Yeah,
there is something creepy about possessed children, anyhow.
Yes.
So like your Damiens and things like that.
Yeah.
But who stood out for me was this fellow who played Baines.
Brilliant.
Excellent performance. And when you saw him go from Baines the man to the alien possessed version.
Very creepy.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
He did it very, very well. Excellent performance. The contrast between the two was done extremely well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very creepy, very frightening. He did it very, very well. I think he probably did it the best out of all of the people.
I think that's true.
The woman wasn't too bad. But yeah, he was definitely the creepiest. Then we have there's the incident with the cricket ball when the Doctor, when John Smith rather, and Joan Redfern are walking through the village, and the piano's going to fall on that lady's head like out of a Buster Keaton silent film, and he picks up the cricket ball, he steals it off the little boy, and
with some precision,
he bowls it. So we sort of thought,
is it a nod to Peter Davison?
Is it a nod to Peter Davison? Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be like a nod to his other incarnations.
Yeah, maybe.
Still there. Or maybe they're just saying, no, David Tennant's Doctor's also very good at cricket. Could be. But I like the Peter Davison.
I like that theory
more. Then when he explains his life, we have some nice little nods. We have a nice nod to the Hand of Fear.
Yes.
Because he says to Joan Redfern, oh, I learnt how to draw when I was from Gallifrey or something.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, is that in Ireland? And he goes, so, yes, probably, or something like that. Which is, of course, if you've seen Hand of Fear, you'll know that the doctor, a medical doctor who is overseeing the Doctor's injuries, says to him, well, where are you from? And he goes, oh, Gallifrey. And the Doctor goes, oh, is that in Ireland? And he goes, yes, probably. Look, what about Miss Smith? Or whatever. So that's a nice little nod there. And, of course, the other cool thing is when he mentions his parents, his father is called Sidney and his mother is called Verity, after Sidney Newman and Verity Lambert, the creator of Doctor Who, and then the first producer of Doctor Who, which I'm sure a lot of you probably knew, but a nice little touch there.
Yeah.
We did say that what would have been nice at another point was when he talks about what road he lived on. We said it would have been nice if they'd have said Totter's Lane.
Yes,
that would have been quite fun. Now, one thing it got a bit irritating personally. I'm sure a lot of people won't even think about this, but it did annoy me when the Doctor was in this form of John Smith, and obviously he was in all his regalia as a teacher and everything, and his mind was in a early 1900s mindset. He let the boys beat up Timothy. So he said, "Oh, can I give him a beating?" He goes, "Yeah, go on." And he's happy to get them to shoot the guns and stuff, and calls them all to arms and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, although notably he doesn't actually fire the gun. I think they did that on purpose. I think they said that they didn't want him to fire the gun for that reason. Actually, I personally think that would have been cool if he just shot the gun. Because I think it would have shown he really isn't the Doctor.
Yes.
Look how different a man he is.
Yeah.
But I think they probably still wanted him to be nice.
Yeah, so therefore they want to
change it. But I think it would have been quite interesting. And the thing that irritated me, he's got all these values, yet he still gels his hair all spiky out here at the front.
Not very 1913.
No, and I'm sure, and as a teacher, the headmaster would have said, "What on earth do you think you're doing with hair like that? That's not an example for the students. Sort it out, Smith."
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's only a little thing, but I think in some shots it is sort of normal. But I think more so in the second episode. Well, no, when he goes to the dance at the end of episode 1, it's all
stuck up.
It's all in his doctor hair.
Yeah, not in character really for.
No, it's a slight
some
thing.
At the time. It's only minor, isn't it?
Yeah, fair play to them for actually doing this. Was noticing the racial and the class divide.
Yeah, that would have been
at the time.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you see it in things that they try to sort of brush over it as if it didn't happen, kind of thing. But I'm very glad that they did. They accentuated it.
In Remembrance of the Daleks, Ace is in the house, and Mrs. Pierce is the lady who's the sorts all the lodgings out, and she goes to the window and sees the sign and pulls it round, and it says "No coloureds."
Yeah.
And she looks, and she's about to say something. Mrs. Pierce, yes, love. Nothing, and then he puts it back.
As she says, "I'm just going out for some air," or something, doesn't she?
She says that later on, I think. Oh no, you're quite right. She does. I got it wrong. Sorry. Yeah, I got it wrong. You're quite right. Yeah.
But I will say I was very impressed that you remembered the name of the woman.
Oh, okay.
Of the old dear, because I didn't know, and I only said, "Gosh, well done." Yeah. So I'm glad that they did. They did do that because that is how it would have been like.
Yeah.
And it highlights Martha's struggle as a
does.
girl who hasn't, we assume, being a 21st century girl, she may have had some racial things against her.
Yeah.
That's how horrible our world is. But not to that extent.
No.
She couldn't. There were all these times when she was acting like you would. And they were putting her in a place.
Yeah, very much so.
And it was
the fact that she was a servant and black is the
So and even the nicer people like Joan, even she says, "Oh, well, they wouldn't make women doctors, and certainly not one of your colour."
Yeah.
Even though she looks like she has it on her face like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that."
Yes.
But that would have been the attitude.
The attitude at the time.
So it is. I've
in keeping.
Yeah. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
To
keeping that in.
Keeping that in. End of episode 1.
Yeah.
And the family of the Doctor and Joan Redfern in love go off to the dance.
Yeah.
And the family of Blood turn up at the village hall.
Yeah.
And they kill that old man for no reason.
Marvellous. Don't get many killings these days. Doctor Who in the classic series, everybody got killed. Brilliant, especially things like Horror Fang Rock and Revelation of the Resurrection of the Daleks. Yeah, brilliant. These days, someone gets slapped, let alone killed. But here we get 2 people get shot. Brilliant.
Yeah. The space of a lot of people die in this story, which is always good. I know some of you are thinking, "God, what a morbid."
Yeah. No. I'm not saying that we need to knock off all the cast of the show, but it's supposed to be realistic, and you've got aliens. And they're trying to survive.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they can to try and...
They're malevolent, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So they would be like that, we assume. Yeah. I think he's more... I'm sure Stephen Moffat has said that he's more... He doesn't like showing death on screen.
No, I'm sure I've heard that, yeah.
Which is... I don't know. I think that makes it scarier. Because you then think, Christ, they actually did die. And it was graphic. They disintegrated into ash. So... Again,
that was good.
Yeah, fair play to that. And the cliffhanger was very good. Who do I kill? Shall I kill Martha? Shall I kill Joan?
Good
and John Smith there thinking,
yeah, what's going on?
I don't even know what to chat about.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. A nice moral dilemma there. Part 2, obviously we've got a lot of stuff going on in part 2. He calls all the boys to arms. They kill all the scarecrows who aren't actually alive. They're just animated cadavers. Animated by Sutek. I know, wrong story. And they're just animated. And so we do have that nice sequence when they're all getting shot, don't we? And when they're all coming together, the call to arms, that's all nicely shot. I mean, the episode itself is just shot very well.
Yeah.
It's very well directed.
Yeah.
And the Doctor and Joan take a moment where they have the watch that has been taken by Timothy, and he's been using it to keep the family of blood at bay, who want the Doctor's Time Lord abilities so that they can survive more than 3 months. And they get the watch back, and they hold hands, don't they, over it? And they see an alternative future of what life could have been like if John Smith stayed as John Smith.
With her.
Yeah. But we don't know why that actually happens.
No. How does it do that?
I don't know.
To me, that's not clear.
Yeah, they don't explain that well enough. I mean, are we just meant to assume that because it's like Time Lord technology, it can see alternate futures?
Maybe.
That's just an easy way of explaining it.
Yeah. Okay, it's a small thing.
Yeah, it's nothing major, but we just sort of thought, hang on, what's that one?
Yeah.
Lots of good explosions as well.
Especially when the spaceship blows up.
That was the good one.
That's very good.
And I'd forgotten that they actually blew up all these bits of the village that they get back in their ship, and they use their rockets to blow the village up. And you see all those small explosions in the background. So that was cool. You know, you actually get a real sense that, you know, just bad stuff is going down in this story.
Yeah.
Which you don't necessarily get in other stories. You know, Silver Nemesis, for example, you never get the sense that is really affecting the outside world.
No, that's very true.
In its own sort of little microcosm of, some Cybermen wandering around the woods and around Windsor.
We talked last time about, you know, when Lady Painful and Richard turn up.
Yeah.
You know, and the people are still there, and then just carry on, and the waitress in the back taking orders, taking cups of tea.
I mean,
you know.
Are we led to assume that when the Cybermen arrive and they have that gunfight with the Nazis, that they're all just in there having their cups of coffee and just watching, going, oh, look at that. It is weird, but for this you actually get a real sense that there is real peril and danger, which you don't get in stories like Nemesis. By the end of it, obviously the Doctor comes back, John Smith's gone, and
let's say David Tennant's, you know, when they're outside and he's what's his name? John Smith, yeah.
That's what you were gonna say.
He's John Smith, and he doesn't want to be the Doctor.
Yeah, there's that little bit, isn't there?
Good performance, very good, very, very convincing. I thought he did it very well.
So, he comes back, defeats the family of blood, the place blows up, and then he punishes the family.
Yes.
So the dad, the father, the fat bloke, gets locked in chains made of Dwarf Star alloy, which for any of you who have watched Warrior's Gate will know that Dwarf Star alloy is the thing that they use to lock up the Farrells. So that's a nice little nod. The girl gets put into a mirror.
Yeah.
Whatever that's about, I don't like that bit. And you said you didn't like that bit when he says, he goes to visit her every day, and I hope one day...
No, not every day, every year.
Once a year. Every day.
Once
a minute! Yeah. I know there's an alien invasion on, but I must go and visit this girl.
Once a year.
Once a year.
He schedules it into his calendar to go and see... I think that's ridiculous, personally.
500-year diary.
It's just as bad as that, what was that story when, I go back and see all my computers...
that was Sarah Jane Adventures.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
I hate that. That's
and he knows all about nonsense. Oh, I know your nephew's got dyslexia, and I know your auntie's got hemorrhoids, and I know you
just nonsense.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Nonsense.
I mean, I'm sure some people think, is it lovely?
No, it's
Isn't
not
it
lovely.
No,
it's not.
But actually, no.
He's got better things to do than worry about that. But he has.
And it's, if he makes such a fuss in school reunion about, I can't have you travelling with me because I see you all getting old and it breaks my heart that I love you all and then you're just going to get old and die. I'm sure he's not going to go, I'll just go and just land the TARDIS in the Amazon and just see how Joe's getting on.
Joe's getting on.
Has
she still got the blue crystal?
Yeah.
Oh no, she gave it back, didn't she?
Yeah. So, I don't like that either.
No.
That is a bit daft. The mother gets chucked into the explosion of a star or
something like that. Yeah.
And So I mean, and then the boy Baines becomes a scarecrow. Now, obviously... No, I'm assuming... Well, they said that they die in 3 months.
That's right. That's why they needed this regeneration.
Yeah.
So they could learn how to survive.
So I assume that means that he locked the dad up until he just dropped dead in 3 months' time. Or however long it
had left.
And the same for the woman, that she was inside that planet and just popped her clogs.
Yeah.
And the little girl in the mirror, I don't know,
After 3 months, just disappears completely.
So every year doesn't really make sense.
No, that's true.
Maybe she was exempt from that. Maybe she was just trapped and her life was prolonged. But the one with the boy, Baines, becoming a scarecrow, we did think, well, hang on a minute. How about when, you know, X amount of years, when the farmer of that field sees that scarecrow and thinks, oh, I'm going to move him, I'll get rid of him. And he picks it up and thinks, bloody hell, that's a heavy scarecrow. And, you know, starts to try and pull it apart and goes, Jesus Christ, there's a man inside here. And like tries to snap him out of his coma, whatever he's in. And he just dies. Does the doctor just leave him there,
to die?
Like, outstretched like Christ, to just drop dead and decay and become pecked to death? Well, not to death, but be eaten by crows.
Maybe.
Horrible. I will get that, doctor. And so, yeah, that was it. We have Joan Redfern gets all funny with the doctor. And that was another thing I didn't like. I didn't like the idea that the doctor would say, oh, you know, come on, let's try again. Let's see if we can make a go of it. You know, I can be everything that John Smith was.
Yes.
But you can't be everything that John Smith was because you're not a family man. No. You're not going to ever settle down.
No.
You're not going to have kids.
No.
You know, she is only human after all, you know. I didn't like that so much. No. Obviously, she turned him down anyhow. But I think that was a bit out of character. Yeah. I think it would have made sense if you'd have said no. You didn't like the end, did you? You didn't like the fact that we saw Dr. Visit Timothy as an old man. I liked it. I thought it was
Matt liked it. I wasn't sure. I mean, I thought the fact that he gives him the watch, fine. Then they go off, and then you see him during the First World War with his other mate, and you know he survives and he thanks the doctor. I think it should have finished there. Lovely jubbly, that's very nice. End. The fact that you see him when he's an old bloke in a remembrance ceremony. Oh, and look who's on the other side again. Oh, the doctor and what's her name?
Martha.
Martha, they're there putting their poppy on. I don't know. I'm not trying to be heartless or anything. I'm going to teach about World War I and World War II in school, but you know. I just don't know whether or not that was really needed, but that's just my thought. I don't know. Just thought it was a bit unnecessary.
But overall,
very good. So scores.
Very good.
Scores on the board.
Well, you go first. What do you think?
Well, because it's interesting, you know, that I gave Silver Nemesis 5 out of 10, and you give it 3. And having read through the comments that some of your listeners, viewers, had put, some agree with you. Some I think agreed with me.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I thought it was a very good story. I would say that Human Nature, Family of Blood, I would probably give it a good 8 or 9 out of 10.
And I agree. I was going to say 8 or 9.
Yeah.
8 or 9 out of 10. Very good story. Excellent. There's, you know, the only faults you can give it. Or if you're nitpicking, like slight little details,
like we did.
Yeah, but that was just, and we just said, you know, that was just
small.
That was nothing. That had no effect on the full story or our enjoyment of the story.
Yeah,
very good. So I'm sure a few of you are probably thinking, good God, an actual news series story that they liked. But it was excellent. It was very well directed, well acted by everyone.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we sat down and watched that. So actually, thank you for picking that story. If you look down below, I'm going to post a link to my Facebook page where the vote for the next story will be. I mean, I think at the moment Green Death is looking like it's winning, so that will be coming up.
And I watched Green Death only about a week or 2 ago at home. I watched Green Death, which I like the story very much.
Yeah, I like the Green Death. It is a good story.
So you know, if you say yes and I'm not back at school, I'll.
Well, you want to review Remembrance of the Daleks, don't you?
Well, I didn't want to review Remembrance of the Daleks, but I know a number of your viewers put on the comment, could you please review Remembrance of the Daleks? And obviously, me being a Sylvester McCoy fan, I'd be happy to do that. I love Remembrance of the Daleks. I think it's a brilliant story.
Well, but there we go then. So maybe there might be a bonus one then. Maybe we'll do Remembrance of the Daleks as well before you go back to teaching at school.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So you could get a couple coming up. So yeah. So thank you once again for
pleasure. Thank you
for coming along and watching that story. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you didn't sit down. I mean, because it's 2 parts. I'm glad you didn't sit down and then finish it and think, oh, Matt, why are we watching this story?
I never felt like that at all.
Neither did I. It was really good.
I'm gonna go 9.
9, are you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
Because it was a very good story.
Yeah, let's go 9. 9 out of 10.
2 9s.
Yeah, come on then.
There we are.
Yeah, we'll stick together on this one. Yeah, so 9 out of 10. Very good story. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it because it is very good. Yeah, so thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.